The year is 1984. Sugar Ray Leonard has had many highs and a few lows in his almost decade-long professional career. And after beating an undefeated Ayab Kalule, undefeated Thomas Hearns, and prime Roberto Duran within his last 5 fights, Ray is finally looking to calm his action down and have a fight that isn't branded as the most brutal fight of his career. The opposition in question for this magnificent return? Kevin the Spoiler Howard, a top contender down on his luck with some solid wins as a prospect and a heart that many less determined boxers would get a transplant for in the blink of an eye, if possible.
What is in Howard's chin?
His head snaps so far back. Have you ever seen it? Like on slow-mo? His head snaps all the way back, and he never even stumbled.
So can this former bandit take down his former king among metaphorical thieves? Or will Sugar Ray Leonard prove that his riches and royalty will never match his hunger for greatness? Let's get into it. As a personal favorite here on Boxing After Dark, we have broken down many eras of the great Ray Leonard, from his humble beginnings against Floyd Mayweather to his late career triumph against Donnie Lalonde, and his final professional showing against terrible Terry Norris. But now, we finally get to the point where Leonard was in his greatest era, when it seemed he had become unbeatable and was the final boss for all aspiring boxing youngins.
Does this mean the end of boxing for Roberto?
Yes, I'm not fighting anymore.
And the art of punching is when you could throw 2 punches that sound like one. He would throw punches. You can hear them. They would 2, but they sound like in 1 punch.
And despite it feeling like he was now unbeatable after avenging his only loss, this time was one of the toughest for Ray behind closed doors. From hard use to existential thoughts and physical health issues, it seemed Leonard could end up being a hero gone too soon if he didn't get himself in check.
I drank. I didn't drink too. I didn't sip my wine. I gulped my wine. I didn't, I didn't just take a shot. I took a double shot, and I did everything excessively.
While doubt was sown into Leonard's coming back due to his indecisive nature, the real worry came when his doctor recommended he never fight again due to a detached retina, which he needed surgery for.
He said, man, you gotta be crazy. You gotta be stupid. Come on, we're gonna fight again. You can go blind. You got enough money, you got a nice family, give it up.
To combat this problem, Leonard made it a rule that whoever he fought would have to have thumbless gloves. With this put in place, he was allowed to fight yet again, due to a decreased chance of any poking of the eyes.
I was injured in training prior to the fight. One of my sparring partners accidentally hit me with his elbow. I took off for a few days so that the swelling can go down, because there was even talk of postponing the fight.
So with all these new perceived weaknesses and a tough young man in front of him, some fans thought ring inactivity and father time would create a bitter recipe of disaster for Sugar Ray. Still, despite this, most knew better than to doubt Leonard when he needed to prove himself, to not only his fans, but his mind.
Can't sleep, public all the time, phone ringing all the time, and constantly all I'm thinking is about is fight, fight, fight.
Kevin Howard was a Philadelphian-born danger whose biggest problem was inconsistency. Being able to beat a top contender by the name of Bobby Joe Young in his prime, who would later gain fame for being the first and only man to defeat the incredible champion Aaron Pryor near the end of his career, was a very impressive footnote despite a couple of early losses. And it proved his biggest plague in the ring was often himself, choosing to take 10 to give 1 due to his granite chin.
My plans on beating this fight is by aggressiveness. If it come a knockout, it just be a knockout.
Howard wasn't a big talker, but whatever he said, he meant entirely. Fight night arrived on the 11th of May in 1984, and as Leonard gets a hero's welcome, Howard is stern, composed, and prepared for the hardest battle of his life, and what will ultimately become his legacy whether he wins or loses.
3 knockdown rule is waived, round 1 of the comeback. With Howard a little bit now. It is a confidence, and now the dance. And a sharp right hand. Seemingly, at least, bigger in the biceps, bigger in the shoulders than he was. Combination combination, the right hand getting in pretty well at the bell.
Round 2 is better for Howard, as he catches Ray Leonard by surprise throughout the round and has a style akin to Smokin' Joe Frazier, attempting leaping left hands and bouncing on his feet, as if the word engine isn't in his diction.
That was a good right hand by Kevin Howard.
Perhaps that's ring rust, and perhaps he'll get rid of it quickly.
That was about a 5-punch combination. 3 of them landed, and it wasn't particularly sharp. That was a good combination by Leonard there. Sugar Ray Leonard, however, does seem to be getting much more into the rhythm of the sport, if not the fight. And there was a good combination by Leonard. Right uppercut. Remember, he has not been in a ring at a competitive level for 2 years. And they stare at each other. That was a good left hand by Howard.
Good right hand that Leonard slipped over his left.
And I really believe that Sugar Ray Leonard right now thinks he can take him at any time, and a right hand from Kevin Howard puts Sugar Ray Leonard right on the seat of his pants.
Kevin lands a deceivingly quick and mighty right hand that catches Ray and sends him to the canvas for the first time in his professional career. Leonard recovers as well as a man can despite having to take another 2 snappy left hands and lives to fight another round.
Howard, who gets another left hand in. This crowd is really alive, and a big round for Kevin Howard.
Let's take a look at that knockdown again. As you see, Leonard is coming right straight at him and catches a right square on the jaw.
That motion was to Juanita Leonard, and Ray is saying, I'm going to get you. And Kevin Howard is saying, give me your best shot. And Howard starts out aggressively.
I believe that was the first time in his career that Leonard was down.
And it's almost as though Sugar Ray Leonard is asking himself what he needs to do against what he knows is an inferior opponent. Good counterpunch by Kevin Howard.
Once again, you see, as soon as Ray Leonard lets something go, if Howard's within punching room.
Again, Howard got the better of the exchange. Leonard, a left hand to the body, a right hand to the head. Effective body punches and a good right hand that time.
Leonard is now into a rhythm here. Howard is keeping his gloves high, and Leonard is going very effectively to the body. Marvin Hagler is probably more excited inside than any man in this building or this country.
Of Kevin Howard. 1 year later, he came back and retired after the first fight. Sugar Ray Leonard at the moment not visibly marked at all. Johnny Pearsall, who was a very good light heavyweight prospect from retina surgery. Leonard's timing is a little bit off, to be sure. I think you're right, Larry. Sugar Ray is in something of a rhythm right now, although he took a left hand. Leonard an uppercut. He was hurt, and there was a little swelling on the right cheek of Sugar Ray Leonard. And he took a right hand, and there was a good right hand by Leonard. There was another good right hand.
Once again, Leonard appears to think that he has Howard measured.
Okay. Well, Angelo Dundee still talking counter punches. He said when he misses, make him pay.
It will tell Ray Leonard exactly where he is to being the Ray Leonard we remember.
Howard continues on the attack in Leonard's face. Leonard, a good body shot that time, and that did hurt Kevin Howard. By Leonard to get off the ropes. A right hand by Howard actually backed Leonard up against the ropes.
With such a devastating body attack.
Now again, Howard right on top of him, and a combination by Howard. And there's a great combination by Leonard. All of those punches scoring, and still Kevin Howard
After some better work from Leonard for the last 3 rounds, Ray seems intent on finally stopping the tougher-than-expected opposition in front of him in round 9. Howard remains strong, but after 2 body blows and a sneaky right hook, Leonard rocks Kevin and has him holding on for dear life.
And there was a left hand, and Kevin Howard is about done here.
There's 1 minute to go in the round.
There was a left hand and a sharp right. Howard held on just enough to stay up. Howard's in a whole lot of trouble here. And Howard's looking for a place to fall.
That's it.
And the fight is over. And Sugar Ray Leonard has won it. Kevin Howard wanted to go the distance.
I think the referee stopped the fight prematurely.
Despite being humble in the build-up to the fight and being respectful up until the fight was stopped, Howard's grace and decorum ceased to exist after his great war with Leonard due to such an abrupt stoppage.
They stopped it because I was ahead on the card, and they knew the only way to get it was to take that 9th round. He wasn't hurting me. I hurted him. I knew I beat him. I know I was ahead on the card. Nothing that man got could intimidate me. He tried to hit me with everything. I got under and I counterpunched. That's why I knocked him down in the 4th round.
Scale of 1 to 10, this comeback.
Well, as far as my determination, I'll put it in 10. But as far as my actual ability, it's a low figure.
Soon after this iconic night, the showdown the world had been clamoring to see for many years was finally announced in Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvelous Marvin Hagler. A carrot that had been dangled more times than Ray promised retirement, and a spectacle that was destined to electrify fans from across the globe. Of course, in the history books, it's noted that Ray Leonard got the victory and soon after had a draw with Thomas Hearns in the rematch and closed out his trilogy with Roberto Duran, with his most non-negotiable triumph to date, and would soon after retire for good outside of 2 brief one-fight comebacks that both ended in defeat. Leonard's impact throughout the 70s and 80s was unimaginable in modern-day boxing. With a great sense of humor, impossible to recreate skills at the time, and a precious sense of self-worth. It was sad to see such a grand champion leave when he eventually did. But his incredible resume and legacy speak for themselves, when even now he's often seen as a top 5, if not top 1, welterweight of all time.